Hello, YouTube friends. My name is Constance and this is Cruelty Free Musings. Welcome back. Today, I am going to be updating you on the progress on my Project 9 in 19 pan because I might not have said in the intro video, but I am in fact going to be updating you monthly on the depressing state of my progress. It's just a Project Pan. Progress is slower than you might expect. You don't need much blush, it turns out. So, I don't remember what order I went in. Maybe like face order generally? Whatever. I'm going to start with this, with the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask, because I want to. This is also the only non-cruelty free item in my project pan, so might as well get it out of the way first, right? You can see that I am digging away at that little area, which is inconveniently mostly behind my marker tape. I'm going to just move that quickly. Okay. We'll put it smack over the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask little label. Okay, so there you go. You can see that progress continues on the little crater, and I am, I don't know, maybe a third of the way to the bottom. So I mean progress. I am not 0% of the way to the bottom, but seriously, this thing is almost an ounce. It's 20 grams. It's gonna take forever. So, item 1, slightly depressing. But I knew that that one was going to be depressing. I was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. It's gonna take forever. Alright, next item, the foundation. If you see this and you ask yourself, why is there suddenly masking tape on this? It is because my skin is the natural enemy of Sharpie. Like, it doesn't matter that it's supposed to be permanent. Anything that I touch on a regular basis will have any Sharpie on it rubbed off. So, like, you can see. Do you see that faint little smudge there? Yeah, that used to be the mark. So while I could still see it, I put tape on it and I remarked it. So that was the starting, and then this is the first update. That is where we are right now. I used this morning. I shook it up, then I let it settle. You know, it's mid-afternoon now. So, yep. I have to say that I am hating this foundation less as I use it more, which is kind of the way that foundations go for me. Like, so the first foundation that I ever tried to pan, it wasn't an official pan, but I bought the Tarte Tinted BB Primer, and I hated it. And then I was like, you need to use this up, don't let it just perish in your collection. So I used it, and I figured out how to make it work with my skin and make it, you know, lay flat and, you know, not pill up on itself, not look quite so matte, how to sink into my skin and not, you know. And basically the conclusion on that one was you have to not layer it with anything other than a glowy primer. So I used it up with the assistance of the Becca First Light Priming Filter, and by rubbing it, by like patting it into my skin with my fingers and going in only one direction. So it's like it's a little bit of a high maintenance product, but I figured out how to make it work, and by the end of using it up, I did actually like it. This is probably going to be one of those. It's like, sure, I can only use it with a beauty sponge. That's fine. Like, most foundations, I like the effect of better with a beauty sponge anyway. Like, I find that the Milani Conceal and Perfect also way better with a sponge. So, like, yes, it's picky in that way. I can only use it with one thing. It lasts better with this, particular smoothing primer, surprise. But like everything lasts better over the BareMinerals primer. Everything lasts better over the BareMinerals primer. I am one of the people that it works for. I know that it doesn't work for some people. Cyclopentasiloxane is a pure silicone and it doesn't interact with everyone's skin well, which I realized from watching Sarah Hubler, actually. So I'm one of the people that the BareMinerals primer really works well with my skin. It does make my foundations last better. This is no exception. But I have been wearing this foundation for about 3 to 4 hours. I think I put it on at 10 o'clock and it's almost 2, so I've been wearing it for about 4 hours. It hasn't broken up. I don't have primer on today. So, like, if I want to wear this without concealer over the top, which is possible, I can layer it over the BareMinerals primer, and that will make it layer on top of itself nicely. But if I'm okay with putting a concealer over the top of it and I don't want it to last for a full work day, like I'm just hanging out on around the house on a Sunday, recording videos and doing laundry, then yes, like this is fine. So I'm getting resigned to it. I am resigning myself to this. I do like the foundation match. It's not worth the high drugstore price tag for me. This is $15. I think the Milani Conceal and Perfect is 10 or maybe 11. So I would rather pay slightly less and get the, because like if I'm wearing foundation, you're not going to see my skin anyway. So I might as well go the whole 9 yards and go with the Milani Conceal and Perfect and completely blank out all of my features. The shade matches the same. It's slightly cheaper. So it's okay. I am fine with using it up. It probably will take me most of the year to use up, which is fine. It's just the foundation that lives on top of my desk, and if I want to wear foundation, then I'll put it on. And that's fine. I am okay with using up a foundation that way. I did make a significant amount of progress on it this month in like 2 weeks, and then I kind of went back to wearing concealer every day in the center of my face and not being so much into the foundation, because I actually really like the way that my skin looks. But if I am going to wear foundation, I am fine with this. I'm fine with wearing it to work, but I do pair it with the BareMinerals primer if I wear it to work because it does not last on its own. Alright, next up, we have the Too Faced Naturally Radiant, Born This Way Naturally Radiant Concealer. You may ask yourself, why is there tape on this with no markings? Well, it's because I thought that I could detect an actual progress mark. Like I thought that I could detect the actual level of concealer in here, and I was impressed. I was like, wow, I've used up that much concealer? That's impressive. That's like a third of the concealer. I've only had this since, I think I bought it in, let me see, like August. I bought it in August, maybe. No, it had to have been July. So I bought this in July. I've used up a third of the concealer. That's, you know, impressive, I feel like. That might be true. It might be true that I have actually used up a third of the concealer, but when I hold it up to the light, I cannot actually see the level of the concealer. So we're not marking this, but I didn't feel like peeling the tape off. I still really like this concealer. I find that it lasts very well. It lasts fine on its own, but it does break apart with my oils a little bit. It doesn't crease because I don't actually blend it up under my eyes, where I'm going to put to smoke my my lower lash line anyway, to provide a little bit more definition to my eyes and make them look larger. So there's not a point to putting concealer there. So since I don't blend it up onto the area of my lower lid that actually has wrinkles, it doesn't crease on me. So I can not set it with a powder, but it lasts better. It breaks apart by the end of the day otherwise. If I do set it with a powder, it lasts A+. I don't know if it matters what powder I set it with. And that's something that I'm realizing with this foundation as well, is that if I set it, then it will last a little bit better. Because, you know, that's the point of setting down your foundation with a powder. It'll stay looking good for longer. Alright, next up, we have the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, which looks the same. You can tell that I have used it, maybe. But, you know, I have heard multiple people say, I had this in a project pan for an entire year and I did not hit pan. I've heard 2 people say that. So I am prepared for disappointment with butter, you know, with my butter bronzer. If I don't hit pan, it's not going to be the end of the world. I am trying still. Like I am using it consistently because that is the point of it being in the project. But it's I have steeled myself for the prospect that I will not hit pan, even though I plan to use it all year and not acquire another bronzer. Alright, now this is the BareMinerals Gen Nude Blush on the Mauve. There is an actual dip in the center of that. You can kind of see it at that angle. You can tell from most angles that it is pretty roughed up. But like from that angle, you can actually tell there's a dip in the center. So that's great. This has been the only blush that I have used. Like I actually take that back. I have used my Vlada highlighter as a blush because it is a blush on me. I'm fine with it being a sparkly blush. It's a blush. It's not translucent enough on my cheekbones to not, to show up as a pure highlight. So, I've used that one a couple of times when I wanted to change from this. But like, every time I reach for blush, barring like 2 times, and that's pretty much every day. Like, even if I'm just doing, concealer on the center of my face, it blinks out enough of my natural coloring that I feel like blushes, it improves the healthiness, the healthy impression of my skin. So I'm reaching for this really consistently, and I am impressed with the progress. I'm hopeful. 1 month in, my hopes are not yet crushed. Next up, we have the highlighter, Becca Moonstone. Oh look, there's a like dig all the way across. There's a trench all the way across the highlighter. It is the size and shape of this fan brush. Yes, I've used Flexitarian a couple of times this month, but this has been my main highlighter. I don't wear highlight every single day, but like the same as with the blush and the bronzer, there have only been a couple of days that I have worn makeup and not worn this highlighter. And I am making progress. Like, I feel like that's a noticeable difference to what it was last month. Again, hopes not crushed as yet. Next up, here is my little quad, and that looks really close to pan. I'm hopeful. I'm hoping that maybe next month we'll actually see some pan on that. That would be cool. Again, in this one, I am panning specifically this shadow. None of these others really have dips in them at all. You can see a little bit of texture on this deep brown, which is the shade that I use the most after this one. This has been my everyday transition. It has actually converted me to the use of a transition shade. Like, I find that it is super useful now to throw something into my crease to blend colors into. So I will probably, this has made, panning this has made a permanent difference in my eyeshadow routine. So, how many things can you say that about? Now we come to the depressing one. This is ColourPop Lumiere. I was like, oh yeah, no problem. And I've been really dedicated about using it this month. Again, I want to point out that I have used a lot of this lipstick, even before it was in the pan. And I use it almost every day. Like, the last week I have deviated a little bit from this one and my other Project Pan lipstick, and this is one that I'll reapply at a couple points throughout the day if my lips are feeling a little bit dry. So I was like, surely I've made good progress on this. And then you realize that you have made less than an 1/8 of an inch of difference in your everyday workhorse lipstick, and you are like, I have too much lipstick. This is the only conclusion. If it takes this much dedicated use to use up 1/8 of an inch of lipstick, why am I collecting lipstick? What am I doing with my life? The deep questions. And then here is another one that I can't really show progress on. I can tell you that I have used it significantly more than I would if it were not in the project pan. I have been actively making myself warm eye looks and using this, and this is the lipstick that I reach for. I have found that it is a little dark. It is a bit dark. Like I mentioned in the intro that it is orange. Like it looks like a peach. Maybe a pinky peach in the tube. It's orange on me. It is a deep, true orange. I have found that it looks perfect with orange eye looks. It adds the perfect amount of definition to my mouth, which is otherwise very pink. So this is a good color to pair with very warm orangey eye looks. I keep thinking that maybe I can see progress on this. Oh, maybe I can. Oh, the joys of storing it upright. Guys, it's all the way down to there. I can see the little line of demarcation. I've used this. I've used a lot of this. I think. I'm pretty sure. Not that you'll be able to see it. Yeah, like you can't actually see this on camera, what I'm seeing. It's a very subtle color difference. But it's like right there. I want to mark it with Sharpie, but I know that it will rub off. Maybe I'll mark it with nail polish. I've seen people mark with nail polish. I feel like that's what I should do. So yes, this is another one that I have found ways to wear and pair, and like I'm finding ways to actually use it. And that's the point of this being in the project, is that if it's just going to expire in my collection, what is the point? So I like the formula. It's not difficult to wear. It's just finding an eye look that makes it look at home in my very cool toned face. I do find that if I miss a little bit on my eye look, I can correct it by throwing a peach gloss over the top. This one is Peaches and Cream. I also have a NYX Butter Gloss in Peaches and Cream. I also have a NYX Butter Gloss in Maple Blondie, which is actually on my dresser because it has been living in my work jacket to pair with this. So I'll put this on in the morning and then re-up with the gloss over the course of the day, to knock down the color intensity a little bit, because it is really dark on me. It's not as dark as the lip that I'm wearing, but it is probably as dark as Chai is on me, which is another well-loved lipstick. You can tell I have loved this lipstick. I have used up half of it. I think that the end result is that it's easy to use up half of a lipstick that you love the color of. It is very difficult to get the last bit of lipstick out. And actually use it all the way to the end. That's what I'm learning out of this project pan. The easy part is using up the first half of the lipstick. Once you have the first half of the lipstick used, that's when it gets into the difficult territory. Alright, so that is, in a nutshell, what I have learned in the first month of my first year-long project pan. I hope you enjoyed or learned something. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you feel like. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.